I'm going to make some embossed leather look tags out of a carry-out bag, and just going to go through the basic steps of it, of how I do it. First, you want to cut the top off of the bag and the bottom off of the bag. I cut the bottom of the bag just by going up the seam like this on all four sides. So you'll be left with these two pieces, the bottom and the top of the bag, which you can save and use for another project. And what you're left with is the middle, which you're going to use. Just cut down one side of it. Now you want to open it up and you want to glue the whole thing down to itself. So I just start with one area, glue it down, and work my way across. Spread that glue really well on that one piece so that both of these pieces are glued nicely together. Then you can cut the seam on the other side, start working from the middle, and glue that side together. Just like that. Again, use something to spread your glue so I can see it oozing out, so I know I've used plenty of glue. And if it gets a little bit on the front, it does not matter at all. And then we just want to glue the whole thing together. Then you want to let that whole piece that you've glued together dry for a little bit. And we're going to cut it into pieces next. I'm going to use my Cuttlebug to emboss these my paper here. So what I've done is I've laid out some of the Cuttlebug embossing folders, or the embossing folders that I'm going to use in my Cuttlebug, and I want to cut my paper to the size of the ones that I'm going to use. So that's all you want to do. You want to make it your template because you don't really want to waste a whole lot of it, and just cut your paper down to the size of the embossing templates that you want to run through your Cuttlebug or your embosser. Sometimes I'll even run a pencil line around it just so that I can use as much of it as possible. So I've cut out all of my bag pieces, and I'm going to run them individually, put them in the individual embossing folders. I'm going to run them through my Cuttlebug, and none of it will go to waste. I had a strip left over, but I'm going to utilize that too, and just make some smaller embossing tags or things to utilize. So we're going to run them through. I've already run the first one through just to show you how nice that looks, and that's before we do anything with it. I've used my die cut machine and cut them down into squares, and some of them were partial pieces, not squares, rectangles. Some of them are little partial pieces. I save all of it because you might need it when you want to, if you want to create something with those little pieces as well. And now I'm going to distress them. At this point, the sky is really the limit on how you might want to decorate them. You can use your distress inks to sort of paint over it. On this one, I did the same with a blue distress ink pad. On this one, I put a little bit of metallic on the wording just to highlight it a bit, and then went over it with, again, some distress ink. But you can do whatever you want to do with them. Lastly, I'll put a coat of Mod Podge on them because it protects them and it also stiffens them up a bit. Okay, so I've distressed inked most of them, and or I should say all of them. I always throw a little bit of that on there. And then some of them, when I put distress ink on it, I left them absolutely plain. And I mean, meaning that I didn't color them in at all, put a little Mod Podge on there, and it just brings out the detail in it, which is a really nice look in itself. Looks more like embossed leather, really. And then some of them, I put some distress inks on there. I even used my watercolor paints here and colored some of that in, and again put another coat of put a coat of Mod Podge on them. Now this is one that I did a long time ago. Now I did use different paper. I had more of a cardstock, but I used the same process where I Mod Podged. It was a thinner cardstock, and I glued them together. I ran them through the embosser, and then I used some watercolor paints and some distress ink. But what I wanted to show you is that I covered a hardcover book with them. I laid them out, glued them on, then Mod Podged it again to, Mod Podged underneath of them, or glued them. I don't remember if I Mod Podged or glued, but either way it'll work. Mod Podged on the top of it, and I did the front and the back, and I didn't color that at all. But I really love that uniform patchwork kind of look, and that's the way I created this one. But these would work in the very same way. You would just, lay them on, glue them on in some sort of pattern that you might like, and then, Mod Podge over them and just create a nice little cover for your journal or on a hardback book, all from a paper bag. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I thank you so much for viewing.